Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for the latest episode of South Park, OGs, and this was a really good episode. It was kind of nice to kind of have it the way it was, and it was really well done in my opinion with how it was doing the jokes throughout it to kind of like get everybody on the kind of same page of what's going on, because we got the election results and Donald Trump is the president-elect, and that means we got Mr. Garrison as the President of the United States in the South Park world, and that's going to have some interesting consequences. We'll have to see what's going to be happening and how they're going to take it, because it opens up a lot of interesting possibilities on the show. Because Garrison has admitted he doesn't know what he's doing, so it could go anywhere. So that's what's really kind of exciting for what's going to be going on in the show. So it opens up, and we see the South Park Community Center seeing the election results, and everybody's kind of freaking out. And you see people like puking, passing out, some people killing themselves. And then we see Garrison doing his acceptance speech, and something seems off. And it seems like he's in a trance, and that goes back to the fact that the member berries had, I think, taken control of his running mate, Caitlyn Jenner. And Randy's like, what happened? What's going on? I just love how they had Randy doing what he usually does. He's like, what's going on here? And when he's a voice of kind of reason, you kind of have to wonder what's going on. It's like, okay, so this is the sentiment. He's actually sober. He's actually figuring out what's going on. And he's like, we had a plan. What happened? And that's kind of cool seeing kind of Detective Randy being like, okay, what's going on with this stuff? And then that leads to Cartman and Butters. And it's just like, Cartman goes over to Butters' house to try and pretty much remove any traces of the email he sent about bashing the Ghostbusters movie. And this was actually a pretty pivotal moment because it showed a kind of changing of some characters around with how they were acting. Butters kind of had the sort of dominant role that Cartman would usually have, and Cartman was kind of like asking him to like help him out. He wasn't acting as his usual self. He was kind of scared for Heidi to find that email, and because of Troll Trace and all that. And Butters is like, screw you, you're a traitor for not backing up the boys and all that. And it's like, Butters is like angry as shit and doesn't really give a fuck anymore. He's like going kind of full blast kind of Cartman tilt almost, but he hasn't reached the kind of diabolicalness that gets Cartman his dues. And that was kind of cool to see their character growth with what's going on in this season. And I'm interested to see how that's going to continue on later down the line. So then we get an update on Fort Collins talking about the election and how nothing has been counted in Fort Collins because it's pretty much a disaster area with Troll Trace giving everything out. They have walled it off to pretty much keep anything from going in and anything from going out, as we saw a dude trying to get out being like, my wife is pissed, she saw the porn, she's pissed, and then someone took him out and it's like, holy crap. Now just extrapolate that to a wide range scale, and it's like, ooh. It'll be interesting to see if that kind of starts going all around and what the ramifications could be for that. So then we get to Gerald and this helicopter and all that, and all these cars pull up, and it's like, he's like, they found me. Oh shit. And they're busting in, and Sheila's trying to defend him with this stuff about the piss porn and all that kind of stuff, and he just like, Sheila, I'm going, don't worry about it. And we're like, what's going on? Where could this be going? So they take him back down to the bridge, and you find out it's Turd Sandwich that's asking for his help. And they want to use Troll Trace to find anything on Garrison to kind of get herself back on top or whatnot. So she's sending Gerald in as kind of what he deems as a James Bond 007 to get that, use that information, and also take out Troll Trace so that way everybody else's internet history is safe, and of course the politicians as well. So it's like, that went into an interesting route, and it was just really kind of funny to see that they were also blackmailing him. Like, oh, well, we don't think you want your internet history as well. And it's like, geez, it's interesting different turns that they're taking. And Gerald was for it on the flip. He's freaking out, and then he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be James Bond, I'm gonna do this shit. And it's like, you really don't, I mean, you 180 that pretty quick to like be like, okay, yeah, I'm on board. And it's like, alright, be James Bond. And it's just really, it was really kind of interesting to see, cool kind of, to see him just kind of, he's like, first defensive, and he's like, okay, I can turn this to my advantage, and I can keep going on with what I'm going on as a troll, if this works out. So, then we get to see Brandy and Caitlyn Jenner. He's like, what's going on? We had a plan and all that. He's at Garrison's, and he's trying to figure out what's going on with him, and you can see him in a trance, and he's like, watch Star Wars, I thought we'd agreed on this. And then he looks over to Caitlyn, and Caitlyn vomits up member berries on him, and then he's in the trance as well. And it's like, that's kind of where they're kind of going with the member berries, I think, which is a development that I didn't see coming. It's kind of in a different kind of take than what I was going to be thinking that they were going to be going for, but it kind of fits in what's been put into the universe, and I don't really know where this is going to be going, because we don't have, at this point, the complete face of, like, if J.J. Abrams is a member berry or whatnot, or if he is infected with the member berries, and what their overall plan and goal is going to be this point going forward, because they've got a president and a vice president now. Where's it going to go from there? Where's the infection rate going to go? So, that was a development that I'm looking forward to seeing being paid off towards the end of the season. So, then we get back to Gerald getting in. He's like, yeah, figuring out how his cover is going to be working as a foreign ambassador, telling him that he's got an EMP in the briefcase and all that, and showing how he can change his voice and everything. It's like, he was really getting into it. I'm like, but then it makes sense as a kind of character for him, because a troll wants to kind of be this anonymous, multi-faced kind of dude, and of course as James Bond, as kind of an undercover secret agent, you do those different kinds of facades. Now granted, it's not completely for the lulz, but there's the lull part in him that he's like, yeah, I'm going to screw these guys over. I'm going to get one over on them. It's like, okay. So we get them to see that Gerald then calls Ike through the computer and said, tell your mom that everything's okay, I'm fine. And Kyle's like, I really need to talk to you. And then he's just like, you know what? Screw you, Kyle. Just be a kid. Stop being a pussy. And it's like, oh god. That's gonna be really good for Kyle to hear. And I don't know what exactly they're gonna be doing with him. His arc has been kind of in the air, but I kind of like to see this kind of uncertainty in his character, because that means they can do different things and different paths with him. We don't have a kind of defined way for him to be going. If he'll go to a Cartman extreme, or turn into almost like a Butters towards the end, or if he'll eventually find his way at the end of the season. That's a really kind of cool undertone that we're going to be getting with this whole kind of season. So then we get to the PC principal and the assembly, trying to get everybody like back together. Everybody's shocked and all that. And at first I didn't kind of understand where this was going. But then once they started getting towards the end, that's kind of where it really started gelling. Because then we see that he brought Bill Clinton to do the Clinton's Gentlemen's Club, while also bringing in Bill Cosby. And it's like, okay, I can see the kind of joke in this, but where's it kind of going? It's like telling them, the boys, to act like gentlemen and all that kind of stuff, and try and act better and change. And of course Butters is like, no! And then he's like, no, I ain't buying this. And acting, of course, like the new angry Butters, and just not having any of it. And I was like, okay, we'll kind of have to see what's going on with this later. And then we get to see everything with the infiltration of Gerald kind of getting into Denmark and feeling superior, but of course we see the head dude of Troll Trace kind of being kind of menacing, like the Bond villain kind of thing, and we kind of know that he knows that Gerald is Skank Hunt 42. And he's hitting him with all these things, and Gerald, of course, is laughing at seeing his accomplishments put up, and he's just like trying to hold his cover. It's like, yeah, you're not really cut out for this, are you? And that was a really kind of good thing to see. We also got to see Cartman and Heidi talking about going to Mars as well, because Cartman is freaking out. He doesn't want Heidi to see the email, and he's like, we have to go someplace that has no internet. She can't find out. And seeing him freak out like that, it's a really kind of growing point for his character, because granted, there is some tones of selfishness in it, but he likes having a girlfriend and he doesn't really want to hurt her. It's interesting to see the kind of compassionate side that Cartman, he has had a double-edged sword with compassion for his mom. He loves his mom, but he wants to order her around. But seeing that with Heidi was kind of growing for him, because you would never think that Cartman would get to that point. He's always been selfish up until this point, and seeing that in his character is really kind of different take for him, and really kind of opens up avenues for them to kind of take him into like either growing up or kind of reverting to, he'll have two branches pretty much. He'll either kind of grow up or he'll go back to his old self. Something bad's going to happen, because we need that evil little devil child to fuck shit up, because he's the one you wouldn't expect it from. Being that little kid and just hearing the stuff that he thinks and believes and just doing it, that's Cartman. That's the cool stuff that we like to see from him, because it's just like, oh god, that kid said that. And we then get more in line with seeing what's going on with this Bill Clinton Gentleman Club, with Stan trying to kind of reconcile with Wendy and all that and try and act better, and seeing Bill Clinton and Bill Cosby trying to like interject their own things into it. It was like, these people being heads of like a gentleman club makes no sense because of the ways that they have acted. It's like, okay. And then seeing Butters be like, screw this! Sticking his penis up on the glass, and just seeing their reactions, it was just like priceless. And then we get into the crazy stuff that's going on with Butters and all that, because Bill Clinton then goes and talks to Butters in his home and kind of explains, he wants to explain to him what's going on. He goes and he's like, oh, I need to talk to your son. And the mother and father are like, well, he's grounded for what he's been doing lately, and seeing all the locks and everything. And then they open it up, and Butters just has his penis up against the window doing his thing, and it's like, wow, he's really not giving a fuck. And I kind of applaud this for Butters, because people walk over him mercilessly. He gets in the shit situation. Seeing him kind of take control and have this power really makes me happy for the character, because it shows that he's recognized his situations in certain extents and wants to change that. Granted, he can do it in a better way, but it's entertaining to watch none the least. So, then we kind of see what's going on with Randy. He's been member buried, and he's saying how everything's great around the dinner table, and Shelley and Sharon are like, what the hell are you talking about? And then we get to see how the contagion starts going. It's kind of like reminiscent of a 28 Days Later kind of thing, where he throws up on Sharon and throws up on Shelley, and it's like, okay, this is going to be a really kind of interesting turn for where they're going to be going. If it starts going to this route, it's going to be a lot of different things at once that are going to like coalesce, and we're going to have like people freaking out about trolls, people freaking out with member berries, and the boys and the girls wrapped up in their war. It's going to become a whole clusterfuck in South Park. And that's what I'm looking forward to. And we got one of the great things. This one, I just love the execution, because Gerald's about ready to deliver the EMP into the troll trace, and you find out that the other trolls were sent by the government as well. That this was pretty much a burn on them, that the government of the U.S. pretty much threw in Gerald to Denmark to stop troll trace pretty much. And we see the EMP things go off, and they rickrolled. They rickrolled the trolls, and it was just funny as hell. I didn't know if they were also going to explode, but it was just, they trolled the trolls. It was just genius in how it worked and how it was executed. And it was really needed and just showed that these trolls kind of took themselves a little too seriously. Are like, yeah, we could do this. And it's like, yeah, we got you. And it's like, okay, that was a good one. So then we ended on two big notes of Bill Clinton talking to Butters, talking about how it has to be shown that men can change, or even just given the appearance, because women are getting tired of the shit. And he's like, my wife is going to do something crazy. I have done bad things, and hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, and she's a crazy bitch, and we don't know what's going to happen. So we got to watch out, otherwise they're going to put us in a hole and milk us for semen. And it's like, that's where it was going. I can see that. That was a good one. It took a little payoff, but it was good. And Butters was like, okay, I can kind of see that. And then the end, we get to see Cartman and Heidi. They're trying to get to Mars. Where did they go? SpaceX. And I don't know if that's going to work, and if they do get to Mars, where that's going to go. It's just funny to see that stuff mashed up and see where it's going to go. And I really liked what was going on throughout the whole episode. You can tell the shock and everything, but they did a very well job of wrapping it all together and fitting it within the framework that they had. I have to applaud them, because you wouldn't have known. They probably had 2 episodes ready to go, but had to fully flesh it out after they learned the results of the election. And they just did a really good job with this. And I'm really interested to see where this is going to go for like the end of the season. What craziness is going to happen. So those are my opinions on the episode. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.